Hi! Has climate change modified your daydreaming? I mean, we all daydream about some things or another when they're on our mind, but has it really modified what you're thinking about? I speak to people through deepadaptation.org. It's an online community. It was started as a result of Jim Bendel's paper about climate change. I don't know how many years ago it was. I think it was less than a decade or about a decade. He wrote about what's really going on and informed people to the point that people continue to read it and be surprised at what the scientists are saying about how different it is than other things that happened before in the world. And we know that lots of different things have happened over the years in the world. But how many of us really thought they'd happen to us? I mean, really. It's a big difference. It's a big difference in what's going on now and how it's affected people. The level of anxiety has increased a great deal. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've worked with the Climate Change Alliance, which is an online group, mostly of psychologists, psychiatrists, and social workers who are working with people who are concerned about climate change or I guess I should say, have children or young people in their lives who are asking them questions about their future. Some of those questions are really scary. I mean, it's really scary to have a 35-year-old say, will I be as old as you? Well, I hope so, but we don't know. I mean, that's all we can really say. And when they get mad at us and say, why didn't you do anything? I'm not feeling guilty because I have been trying since 1962 when Silent Spring came out to motivate people, to try to get people to listen, try to get them to care about climate change and do a little bit, just a little bit. I just think if everybody does a little bit, it'd make a big difference. But that doesn't seem to be catching on. I think part of the reason that I'm so motivated to make these videos is because it hasn't caught on. And I keep thinking, well, if there's somebody out there who really is thinking about climate change, maybe they'll look at this and maybe they'll say, well, geez, I'm sure glad she said something because I was wondering if I was alone. Well, believe me, you are not alone. I meet every week. I meet at least once every week, but there are many, many groups that are on not just deep adaptation, but there's also Collapse Club, and I'm thinking they're meeting 2-3 times a week, and that may vary. Part of what happens is the time changes, and that makes it difficult for some people. But we're all volunteers, and we're all doing this because we want to have a community so that when you have a daydream, you don't feel like you're the only person having a daydream. I've also talked to a number of people who have moved because of climate change. I certainly did. There's absolutely no question about that. The first move was because of my husband's health. But in each case, our focus has been what can we do to at least respect the earth, if not change climate change, because who knows if we can ever change it. I mean, so many people say, well, they will take care of it. Who are they? I mean, people said that for Y2K. Y2K is what I called my trial run. We lived the way we thought we could live for about 5 years after if Y2K had made the mess of things that it was supposed to with the computers, which my father had told me back in 1985, 86, before he died, and having worked on the largest computer in the world when he was in the military, he really had a feel for it. He really knew what was going on and what might happen, and so, but they did take care of it. They spent. I read this afterwards. They spent between $300 billion and $600 billion making computer changes so that the change in the 00 for the year 2000 wouldn't make things think it was 1900. I know that sounds complicated, but don't worry about it. It's just that provoked a lot of change in people, a lot of awareness in people. Mostly it was jokes. I mean, we were teased incessantly because we made such a big deal about it, where we moved, how we handled ourselves, stocking up on food, and so forth. And we still get kidded today. People say, well, how much rice do you have on hand? Well, okay. Yes, I do have rice on hand, but I don't know if it's enough. How am I supposed to know how long I'm going to live? Maybe I'll be dead before climate change hits. Who knows? I mean, none of us really know what's going to happen every day of our lives. So to sit and ponder and carry on and make all kinds of plans is really... it can be beneficial, but it can also be harmful. If you feel better having 2 big bags of rice put away, do it. If it makes you feel better to have a couple of boxes of protein bars put away, do it. If it doesn't, if you say, why bother, then don't do it. I mean, we've got to recognize that the older we get, the less we should care about what other people say about how we live our lives or what we're thinking. Our daydreams are our personal business, and this should be. I mean, that's why they call them daydreams, because people aren't supposed to get involved in what's going on in your head or even ask you. I mean, your teachers, of course, say, don't stop that daydreaming and pay attention to what I'm doing. Well, of course, that's because you're going to be tested on it and you need something you need to know. Maybe it's math or history or science. But daydreaming about climate change, there really aren't very many answers. I mean, there's a lot of scientists who've come together and they're giving us a lot of information and they're signing a lot of letters and they're saying, yes, there is definitely climate change. But a lot of people aren't listening to that. There's an awful lot of people who aren't listening to that. And that's their prerogative. I mean, really. And there are other people who are very concerned about it, especially people who live close to water, where they are anticipating that if the Arctic or the Antarctic are melting, or both, or what's happening to water moving around, or what's happening to the magnetic fields, or what's happening to sunspots. Or, I mean, if you start down that rabbit hole, I tell you what, you're going to hear everything you can imagine, because people are scared. They're concerned. They really don't know what to think about climate change and what to do, and whether they should be public about it or not, or whether it should be something they keep to themselves. And that's why I use the word daydreaming, because that way you don't have to make a commitment. If you come on to listen to me, you just say, well, she's just blah, blah, blabbing on. But the fact is, there is a lot of evidence. There really is a lot of evidence that something is going on. And you and I both know we have not been considerate to our earth. We've harmed it. Number one, there's too many of us. And number two, we expect tremendous amounts of comforts. Number three, we expect to go anywhere anytime we feel like it, whether it's by bicycle, horse, car, donkey, train, bus, plane, boat, whatever it is, in the same way that we expect water to come out of the tap. And many people around the world have discovered that water isn't coming out of their tap, at least not as regularly as it used to. We're having a lot of trouble with that here, because what keeps happening is there's incredible amounts of rains up on the mountains. Look, over here. See, that's all the mountains behind me. You can't see the ones where I'm sitting so well because we've got an awful lot of fog moving in. I think it's been raining a little bit. But that's what's happened. We've had a lot more rain than usual. Dr. Guy McPherson told me years ago that Ecuador, I live in Ecuador, Ecuador would probably not have a lot of more heat, but it would have a lot more rain. And that's been exactly what's happened. And what's happening is the rain is coming down the mountains quickly. As it falls, of course, it gets up momentum, and it breaks water pipes, because they don't bury them. They leave them exposed so they can see them, I think. Or maybe because they don't want to take the time or the money. I don't know, but water pipes lay on the ground, and so they break. And when they break, you quit having water in your home, and you have to wait until the water comes back, and then you have to be careful when it comes back because you want to run it till the dirt is gone out of it. Oh, I live in a place where there's no chemicals put in the water. I do it on purpose because I have my own filters, and I have my own drinking water that I keep separate, because I don't want to take a chance with someone I'm 79, my husband's 85. That doesn't make sense. Now, did you hear what I just said? Water breaks because of too much rain, and therefore water comes in and out, not in a normal pattern. So I have drinking water, and I also have water out back for my plants that I catch off the roof. I've done something with my daydreaming about climate change. Not a big deal, not something that most of the people know anything about. They're not kidding me about it, chiding me or giving me a rough time. But yeah, I have done that. And I also have put away some rice. Okay, so I do have some plans. As far as the earth is concerned, well, I've done a lot more things with that. I don't use a dryer. I have a clothesline. I have a solar. We're on solar right now. I recycle everything I possibly can. I buy almost all organic food from a farmer that's only a little over a mile away from me. I mean, I do a lot of things, not just for climate change, but for the earth, because I respect the earth and I recognize that we have really harmed our earth. I believe that. I sincerely believe that much of what's going on has been caused by humans. And I occasionally get kidded like that, but not as much as I did years ago. I mean, back in the 80s, I was really getting kidded. And of course, the wonderful thing about the 60s and 70s is I was young, and everybody else was young, and we had Woodstock. And so we were able to say what was bothering us. And then we focused on the Vietnam War. But myself, I was also focusing on, are we taking care of the earth? And the answer I usually got was, no. And it was sad. It's very sad, especially now when I look back at how many years I was doing that, and I wonder, wow, I wonder if anybody was listening. And it's unlikely. It really is. I mean, some my friends know, and they kid me about it a little bit, but in general, I think it's easier to look the other way when something is going on. Just look the other way. Why? Well, if you're in labor and about to have a child, you really have to pay attention. But if you have a Y in the road and you can go one way rather than on a pavement and the other way on dirt, you're probably going to go on the pavement. It's easier. It doesn't cause so much stress. You don't have to think ahead. And because it can cloud so many things. You know, should I buy extra groceries? Should I move? Well, even should I buy a car? Should I plan on putting away money for college for my child? What about my retirement? I mean, these questions keep coming up, and that's where the daydreaming comes in, because none of us are really sure. And I'm here to tell you that what you think is your business. It's your business. How you look at this plan is your business. How you resolve it is your business. And if it doesn't happen, wow, more power to you. If it does happen, have a plan B, something that you got in mind that you'd like to do. Maybe there's a relative you want to go stay with who doesn't live by the water, or perhaps there's somebody who has a large home and it's an empty nest situation, and you've got 3 kids, and you know that you can move out of the trailer you're living in into the home with more room for your 3 kids. Maybe they got 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms or 5 or whatever. They just have a plan B. That's way back in your head. You don't have to even tell your spouse about it. Just have a plan B. Because then something does happen, you can act really like you know what you're doing, and you can say, hey, I've got an idea. I thought this through. I just because I didn't want to say much about it, that doesn't mean I didn't think about it. And that covers it. Okay? So that's what I'm here for today, just to give you a little memory shake-up that, yes, I think there's climate change. Yes, I've done some daydreaming. Yes, I've put some things in place. And maybe you want to too. And if you have any questions, down below, there's comments. Just ask me. I'm happy to answer any questions as much as I can. And if I can't, I'll research and tell you what I found. Because I'm really interested in what you're thinking. I'd like to know how many other people are concerned or have plans or so forth and so on. And what you're telling your kids. How are you talking to your kids about this situation? Be really interesting to me. Teacher, retired teacher. Thank you so much.